Chris Kelly. I am his stunt double. He is with us this morning
Now
to
you're
start
using
us
my
off
lines.
before.
Yeah.
No, I did. I stole your line. I know. Hey, listen, everybody in the chat there, we got people coming in, hitting 300 now. In the chat, let us know where you're coming in from. Love to see where everybody is coming in from. And as we're getting everybody in the room, we will get started here in just a second. So if you can make a comment down in the chat area, let us know where you're coming from. Destin, Florida. I see you, JJ. All right, great. All over Atlanta, Memphis, Tucson, Marietta,
Wow.
Houston. Now, coming on in. Everybody from across the country, San Diego, Charlotte, Omaha, St. George Island. I love it. Home team. Lots of people coming in. North Carolina, all over. Auburn, Virginia. All right, great. Hitting over 400 now. We're still letting people in. So excited to have everybody here. Listen, we've got an amazing program for you guys today. A couple things. We're going to be getting to the broke agent, Eric. Simon will be coming up in just a minute. Chris Kelly and I were actually out, and for those of you that don't know, Chris Kelly is the CEO and president for Home Service of America. Just an outstanding leader, a great voice in the industry. And he and I were at a conference this past week. We were actually in the conference in Omaha, Nebraska, and Chris did shared a little bit about kind of where we are in the industry right now. And so before we roll over to Eric, I wanted to make sure that I let Chris come on because, man, it's such good information. Chris, you mind just sharing kind of what you're seeing right now and kind of what that looks like, if you don't mind?
Yeah, no, it's yeah. So Jimmy, you and I were up there with Vince Lacey and his amazing explosion event this week, and Vince was concerned that I wouldn't be able to do a presentation in under 30 minutes, and I think I came in at 27, and now we're going to do it like in 3 minutes, and really the only thing I wanted to touch on because I thought it fit in perfectly with the conversation you're going to have with Eric today. About branding, about personality, about being who you are, and how you connect with people. And I just really wanted to quickly kind of remind everybody, I think, why we, especially in the real estate industry, should feel really confident about where we're heading in the next economy that is coming, right? So a lot of talk about digitization, about AI. What does that mean for different professions? Some are more worried than others. I think for the real estate world, we're in a really good spot. So just really quickly, what I want to remind everybody is that if you go back to the Industrial Revolution, the most important worker in the US economy, and really globally, was the skill worker, right? So it was the factory worker, the person that could pull levers, push buttons, push equipment down the line. That's really what was driving the economy, was the skill worker, right? Well, then we went through a period of, where that largely became automated, and really where we've been living since the 1960s, unchanged for, going on, 70 years at this point almost. We've kind of went through the information technology revolution, and the knowledge worker was really what was the dominant player across the global economy. So you think about all of that repetitive work in factory being replaced by automation, and then the skill worker, which was what was dubbed by the author Peter Drucker. It's the educated worker, the person who works with computers, the person that is delivering information to consumers on a daily basis. That's largely what we have been living in over the last 60 to 70 years. And I think as real estate professionals, we often think sometimes that knowledge is really what makes us most important. And certainly the expertise and everything you have from a market perspective is vitally, vitally important. But we had a concern at one point where the internet was coming to rise in the early 2000s, late 1990s, was what if the consumer has access to all the listings, right? Won't that diminish what we do? Because we thought we were a knowledge gatekeeper, right? That you had to come to us in order to get this knowledge. And that's where we brought the value. And that information is at the fingertips of the consumer more now than it ever has been. Not just listing content, but with everything with AI and the information that you can just Google on a daily basis, the consumers are coming to us more educated than they've ever been. They spend 6 to 9 months in a dreaming phase before they potentially even reach out to us and stuff. So it's really not going to be so much about that knowledge of us moving forward as well too and stuff. And so when you look at the technology impact, millions of jobs are going to be impacted by AI. 71% of industry leaders can see that it's coming. It's doubling every 18 to 24 months. It's called Moore's Law. An example of that would be, if you guys remember Watson, it was the IBM Watson computer that finally beat everybody on Jeopardy. In 2012, when it first appeared on Jeopardy, the computing power was essentially housed in the size of a bedroom. You get 5 years later, it's reduced to, 3 pizza boxes. Now it's probably less than 1 pizza box, all of that computing power being reduced down. And so, none of our brains work that way. We as humans are not doubling every 18 to 24 months in our computing power. So after the skill worker, after the knowledge worker, really what becomes next, and it's not the mechanics of what we do. What really matters is the relationship worker. And so most of the futurists out there that look to the next generation, The next worker that will be the most vital part of the global economy is the relationship worker, because so much of knowledge is going to again increasingly be at the fingertips of the consumer that's out there. We are perfectly positioned as real estate agents. We've always talked about this is a business about relationships. It's about creating connection. It's about being out there, whether that's physically, digitally, whatever it may be, but it's creating relationships with people. That's why they reach out to us. There is so much that they could do online, yet they continue to want to work with us more than ever. And it really comes down to this empathy thing. It's more than what a computer can do. It's more than what AI can do. It's the mirror that all of us possess in our brain, that when we're sitting face to face with somebody, we can understand what they're going through. And for most of the consumers who are going through a significant financial, emotional transaction like a real estate process can be, is they want that helping hand. Yes, they want the experience, they want the knowledge, they want the expertise that you all bring, but they really are looking for someone to guide them through the process almost at an emotional level. And I know most of you think out there as you go through that process, how much are you balancing between the knowledge support you're providing and the emotional support you're providing a buyer and seller as they go through the process. And that's really the superpower that all of us possess. And I think no more so than the real estate profession, with that highly attuned relationship, empathy, skill value that all of us have. And it's really, think about it, it's bedside manner. It's the things that machines and non-social elements of work, they just can't replace what we're doing on a personal level. And when you look at the numbers, I just want to point this out. When you ask all consumers out there, most recently in a poll from NAR just a couple months ago, are you going to work through a real estate agent? What you can see is all consumers are about 88%. The younger you get the demographic, look at that, 22 to 30, 91%. So this whole idea that the younger the demographic, they don't want to work with you, completely not true at all. We've overwhelmed them with information. So I just wanted to come on as you guys are getting ready to, spend your time with Eric today, which is going to be amazing. I can't wait to listen to it myself. As they're talking about all these different ways of being yourself and getting out in front of consumers and being top of mind with them, think about the consumer. At the younger they are, the more overwhelmed they feel. That's why that relationship side of what we do is more important now than at any other point in probably the history of real estate. And it's what we should all be leaning into. And so just you and I had kind of spent a little bit more time talking about this when we were up in Omaha together. And just wanted to come on and kind of talk a little bit about that to set the table a bit.
Hey, Chris, this is super helpful, and it should be extremely encouraging for agents. Again, it goes right into what we're going to be talking about today. Some of the things that we were seeing when we were out in Omaha, a lot of the agents were giving us some feedback. It seems like there's a renewed optimism on kind of where we are, that maybe we are hopefully coming towards, something where we're moving in the right direction. Anything that you would say as far as what you're watching out there in the market, and maybe even something that you would encourage agents to do?
Yeah, I mean, so, if you're just looking at data, right, the one thing I was encouraged about this week is we got a little bit of a hot inflationary number with the PPI number, and it didn't cause the 10-year treasury yield to spike up, right? Like, it was almost anticipated a little bit. And so what that means is that the market's really just waiting for some rate adjustments to happen, and we'll see that come into the fall, it appears. And while the 30-year mortgage fixed rate isn't directly tied to what the Fed does, there is this correlation that translates to the 10-year yield, and then it translates into the mortgage and stuff. So there is this kind of cascading effect. But my optimism comes from, one, the consumer's desire to still be with us to continue to mature those relationships. Yes, there's a lot of fence sitting. There's a lot of squishiness out there in the marketplace right now, but continue to roll with that, continue to stay in front of them, because life goes on. That's what we're going to talk about. Like, even if someone's waiting, it's not always an economic decision to buy or sell a house, right? I'm an empty nester. My family's expanding. My job's relocating. I've got kids to take off to college. Whatever it is, life continues to find a way. That's where we want to be, and we want to be shoulder to shoulder with those folks.
Hey, Chris, I appreciate you being here. This is what's fun is think about where we're going. We're going from Chris Kelly to the broke agent. We're going to cover all ends of the spectrum today. And if I can have Eric come up, Chris, appreciate you. And hopefully we'll see you next week or in the next couple of weeks. I love these where you're dropping in, really giving us some information that's timely and some ideas for everybody. So, Chris, appreciate you. And Eric Simon, aka the Broke Agent, is joining us now. And Eric, my friend, I got to tell this quick story just before we even get started, because man, I've said this before. Listen, I love spending time with Eric. We can't share some of the texts that we have back and forth. It's probably not appropriate. Some of it very, very much not appropriate. But what I would say is this. Don't let the memes fool you. Eric Simon is one of the brightest minds that I know as far as building brand, as far as understanding how agents are connecting. I love the way that he aggregates everything that he's doing, where he's taking the best of agents. He's highlighting those things where it is an easy to follow that you can put those things into practice. We're going to do a lot of that today, but I got to tell this on Eric. Eric and I have met before a couple times, but then we were speaking actually in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we got put um, in a house in a house for 2 days together while we were speaking at this event. And man, I laughed as hard as I've laughed in a long time. But I also came out of there where I felt like I had a better understanding of what it was to be a branded agent in this real estate market we're in today. So, Eric, my friend, thank you for taking the time, man. I know we got a ton of people that are coming in. We've got offices that are watching this. So, thank you, brother, for being here. And I'm going to turn this over to you, and we'll just do what we always do. We'll just kind of bounce back and forth if that's okay.
Yeah, let's keep it conversational. And you could hear me okay, Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. And by the way, those 2 days that we spent together in North Carolina, those are the best 2 days of my life in that house. If I could relive any 2 days, it would be those 2 days. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
thanks,
I'm
man.
gonna share my
Yeah.
screen here and then drop into a little presentation. All right. So let me get in present mode real quick.
Best 2 days of your life, huh? That's the first time you've
One
told me that. I'm pretty proud.
100%. Absolutely. All right. So you can see this. All right. So,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, usually I start with this kind of long introduction about myself, and I think that no one cares at this point. I think I just want to get straight into value here. So, I'm just going to kick off with 4 things about content that actually work today, and hopefully that's going to make the audience like me, and then I could get into the introduction and the entire story. I'm going to lead with value, if that's okay with you.
I love it. Love it.
All right. So the first thing that is working today in content on Instagram specifically for real estate agents, for media companies is news and headline posts. So can you see these okay? This is the sort of style that you're seeing, whether it's on Puberty, which is a media headline that kind of created this sort of content. We do it on BAM, and then real estate agents can implement this as well. So anytime that you are getting new information, news information to your audience, whether it's a new restaurant, a new development, a coffee shop, something that's happening locally, or if your city is mentioned in the news, this format right here, Jimmy, is absolutely crushing in terms of engagement. And you could do it in 2 different ways. You could do it where you actually put yourself in the picture. You could have an AI image like this. Or what's really working for us is kind of the memification of the content. So having some sort of photo that actually correlates to the text on that image. So this is from BAM. This is our media company. And then right here on the right, this is from a real estate agent named Kyle Talbot. Anytime Kansas City is mentioned in the news, he creates a simple news headline like this. He has just a Canva template, which I could give to you guys after this. And it just says Kansas City ranks among America's most polite cities. This thing got 4,000 likes, Jimmy. And all it is a news headline. So this sort of content's absolutely crushing. By the way, feel free to jump in whenever you want if you want to
Hey,
elaborate on any
yeah,
of
yeah.
this.
Let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, I can see where you're doing this with BAM. What are some of the things that you're thinking of when you're doing these? As far as like, I'd love to get even deeper on like titling. Because
Mhm,
it looks like these are a little bit more wordy than the typical thumbnail you would do for some of this stuff.
mhm.
And what are you seeing as far as like for agents specifically? Obviously, the content here is like headline. It's like news, and then you're reporting some of these things. Anything in particular as far as like it just looks a
Yeah.
little different, than what we've talked about before.
Yeah, what you want in your headline, whether it's in your caption or also the headline on the actual image itself, is you want to mention your market. Right now, the AI algorithms are feeding people who are using SEO heavy language in their content. So anytime in your captions, as much as you could use it in your actual content, say you're in Tucson, Arizona, like Bridget Baldwin, you want to use the phrase Tucson real estate, Tucson as much as humanly possible, because that's not only going to serve your content to the right people, but it's also going to make it more searchable.
Yeah, that's great.
Number 2, this is what's working. Mixed media carousels. A carousel post, for those who don't know on Instagram, it's a swiper post. It's one with more media than just a page. So I'm going to click right here. Did this flip to the Instagram? I just want to make
It
sure.
did.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is a mixed media carousel post. This is one of my memes on the Broke Agent. And basically, what I mean by mixed media is it's a combination between photos and videos. So as you can see, it's photos, it's videos, it's photos, it's videos. That's been extremely effective for us, especially starting with an actual video, because then it's actually being shown in the algorithm a little bit more than just your actual traditional feed post. So anytime you could do mixed media carousel posts in your content, it's very effective. Third, text only observations. This sort of content is absolutely crushing because it's very easily consumable. Jimmy, I want everybody here to understand that not every piece of content has to be video or has to be a reel. In fact, carousel engagement and photo engagement is actually skyrocketing right now on Instagram, especially Facebook, because sometimes people just want easy content to consume like this. So if you have an observation about your real estate market, about something hyper local that's happening, or just some opinion you have about your market or anything that's happening, just put it in text format, whether it's on your notes section on your phone, you can screenshot it, or you could actually post it to Twitter, do a screenshot. If you don't have Twitter or X, you could actually just use a Canva template and then upload it there. This sort of content's extremely effective, but you know what makes it even more effective, Jimmy, is audio. Anytime you are posting a photo or a carousel post, you have to put audio on it because it works as an additional hook to the actual text or image that is on screen. Because as you're scrolling and you hear something, you're more likely to stop on that piece of content. I'll dive deeper into this in a little bit. Does this all make
Yeah.
sense? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, sweet. So wanted to lead with a little bit of value right there. Drop a one in the comment if you got anything out of that, and if you now like me, so that I could actually give my entire presentation, because that was the entire goal with that, is just lead with value. Now I'm going to tell a little bit of story about myself.
Hey,
So
man, there's a bunch of ones. Bunch of
a
ones.
bunch
Who
of
knew?
ones. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well,
Okay. The key is you got to keep engaging the chat a little bit too. It keeps the energy up. So I'm Eric Simon. I am the founder of The Broke Agent. This is the number one real estate humor brand in real estate. I've built one of, if not the largest organic followings on Instagram and Facebook. And I have started a media company with my friend Byron Lazine. It's the new media of real estate. It's called BAM Media, formerly Broke Agent Media. And what we do is we create content for real estate agents based off of agent strategy, marketing tips, and real estate news. And we do this by finding what is the most consumable piece of content and sifting through all of the bullshit in the industry and narrowing it down to the 3 or 4 things that agents should consume on a daily basis, not behind a paywall. So I just want to set the table for who I am and the audience that I've developed. So when I give you these strategies, you kind of understand that I'm coming from a place of someone who's created a ton of content. So I'm going to play this because I bet a lot of people feel like this right now. And this is kind of an example of the broke agent content.
Ready? Come on, let's shoot this piece of shit. Ready?
So let me know if you feel like that in the comments. Drop a 2 if you feel like you were kind of sick of creating content. Is this ever you, Jimmy, with that bottle of liquor right there, walking down a hill, maybe looking for your golf ball?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Exactly.
I mean, listen, if somebody tells you they don't get sick of it or they are a little bit overwhelmed by it, sometimes they'll lie to you about other stuff, man. I mean, I think
100%.
everybody does.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to get into the strategies about how to not be overwhelmed by this. So this is our BAM content. Like I said, it's marketing tips, it's real estate news, it's education, it's content that is in your face, consumable, tangible for the average consumer to understand, not behind some ridiculous paywall. So this is exactly how I built this brand. And the 2 things that I focused on, I used to do this talk called the 7 pillars of Instagram. I think it went over people's heads. I am just going to stick to 2 things. It's how to stay consistent and how to be extremely timely and relevant, because I've built my brand by being constantly relevant about what's happening in pop culture, relating my content to the times, and always being in people's phones when whatever issue is happening. So I've built this brand by posting, Jimmy, 5,000 plus times in over 10 years of content. This is a sickness that I have, but I want people to understand that this is not about me coming up with some like brilliant idea or piece of content. It's really the consistency that has beaten the creativity, especially when creativity isn't consistent. So you'll see a lot of agents out there who are really funny or they have really clever listing videos, but maybe they're only posting once every couple months. And the agents that aren't posting as high quality content, but are posting more consistently, will eventually beat that agent who kind of goes in and out of these waves of content creation and ingenuity, because the consistency, it's getting those at bats every single time that are really, really important for your content. So how do real estate agents stay consistent? The first way I recommend, of course, is bulk recording. So this is when you actually set a time in your calendar. Maybe it's once every 2 weeks, maybe it's once a month. It could be with a videographer, it could be with another agent in your office, or you could just set up a ring light like this, put your iPhone on a gimbal and film it yourself. But if you actually set time to record the content and think of the video scripts beforehand, then you're not being pulled in all those different directions with the inspections and open houses and client showings that pull you out of your content creation. This is really going to set yourself up to bank content so that in the future you don't have the problem of being inconsistent. Do you ever do this bulk recording at all?
Yeah, constantly. I mean, everything we do. I mean, try to stay 3 to 4 weeks in advance, and then
Mhm.
obviously mix in the timely stuff a
Yeah.
little more. And so, what about you, Eric? What's that look like for y'all? I mean, how far are you out ahead, and how much are you moving in with new, fresh stuff that's happening immediately?
Well, I'll tell you right now, I don't do this anymore because as a media company, we have to create content every single day. So I used to bulk record for our YouTube videos and do these planning sessions, and that's when my content was most effective. But because we are getting content based off of the news about what's happening in real estate, that has to come from the day. So it's like a writer writes their piece of content, then I format it into an Instagram post or a green screen. It's really time consuming. But I'm a
Hey,
full-time content creator, so it's completely different.
but Eric, for the average
Mhm.
agent out there,
Yep.
what would you suggest as far as like how far should they stay in advance? How much should it be like, timely stuff that's happening,
Yeah.
headline wise?
So I'll get into that exactly how you should
Okay.
bank it on your calendar. But I just want to make sure people understand too, to do this not only every 2 weeks or once a month, but actually put content creation in your calendar on a daily basis, whether it's just consuming or it's actually the physical posting of this. So obviously, D-backs are playing the A's. I don't know if this is actually recent. That's not happening today. But you take your ice bath in the morning, you post your motivational quotes, you take your Propecia for your hair growth. Jimmy, you and I could use some of this. Then you make your calls, and then you have your content planning every single day, just like you're making your calls, because this is just as important, I would say, at this point, is building your brand and getting that information out there. Then, of course, you cry in your car, and then you go to your sewer inspection at 1. The best way to do this is you actually write yourself a realistic plan and you choose a number of posts for an entire quarter and you stick with it. A lot of agents kind of get in the habit of saying something like, oh, I got to post every single day, or I want to do a YouTube video twice a week or once a week. You set those unrealistic expectations for yourself and then you fail at it. And then you don't ever want to do it again, right? Jimmy, it's like when you go to the gym or you don't go to the gym for 5 days and then you're like, well, I'm not going to go today either. I'm not going to go today either. And then you just keep not doing it because then you revolted or reverted back on your plan. And then now you're just never going to do it. So a lot of people feel like this. You just may as well stop if you stop creating the content. So take a picture of this. I know a lot of people will take a screenshot of this and then never look at it again. But I do recommend making sure that you understand this prescription because all you really need on social media these days, and this comes from the Instagram CEO himself, is to post 3 to 5 times per week on Instagram and Facebook, one long form YouTube video because long form builds trust, one email newsletter, maybe that's once a week, once every 2 weeks to your database, and then one blog per week per SEO that you could actually put in your email. If you write yourself a prescription like this, or you just follow this and do it for a quarter or even a couple months, I guarantee you'll start to see your follower growth, your content creation get better, and just your overall brand gain a lot more awareness. So here's some consistency hacks that I use. This is a post that I have probably posted 4+ times. I'll play it right now.
I am on a remote island on the edge of the Gulf of Alaska at the very top of the Pacific Ocean.
So that post originally, Jimmy, got me 12 million views. And I
Yeah.
posted this, I want to say like middle of 2023 is when I first posted this. I have repurposed this content and posted it again, whether it's in a carousel or just as is, 3 separate times, racking up an additional million views each time that I posted it. The point is if you are ever stuck with content ideas, go back into your bank of content, scroll through your Instagram, scroll through your TikTok, scroll through your YouTube, whatever worked well in the past, you're going to want to repurpose that and post that again in the future. Obviously, you have to do something that makes sense. You're not going to post a reel about Christmas in August, but you are going to post something that performed really well. And then I always get the question of, won't people notice this? And I think there's something that I have learned, that no one actually cares about you that much. And no one is actually consuming your content that much. Like if Jimmy reposted a green screen that he did about one of his Inman articles, I would not remember the fact that he posted that 10 weeks ago, right? So if you had one, because I've seen some of your content that gets like 500, 600 comments. If you had one that really, really crushed, why would you not post that again? Because your audience probably doesn't remember it the first time. And then also you're gaining new audience all the time. So they're seeing this content for the first time.
Yeah.
Another way to do this is you could reformat the content. So if you had a concept that did really well, like this one, for example, when are you available to look at homes I sent you? We should get these in before the holiday weekend. And then the buyer says, let's see them 4th of July at 2 p.m., right? The most inconvenient time possible. What's coming up? Labor Day weekend. You bet your ass, Jimmy, I'm going to be doing this exact same post, but on Labor Day weekend. So I'm always taking posts that I have done in the past that performed well and repeating them. Same thing goes with, say I posted a reel that did really well. If that reel concept was really well, I'm going to repurpose that into a tweet, or I'm going to repurpose that into a blog, or I'm going to take a text like this that did really well, and then I could create a skit out of it, or create a meme out of it, or you could change up the words a little bit, or you could just add an audio, or you could actually just repost the content.
Yeah, Eric, this is one of those things that I've always talked about is going back and looking at your previous. I mean, your audience is going to tell you what they respond to, and what
100%.
Eric's audience responds to is going to be different than mine, and vice versa. And so, notice what it is that your audience is telling you they like, and give them more of that, and you'll be amazed. And don't be afraid, like Eric's saying, to go back and repost some of these things from back in the past. And I think you're going to begin to see some more results as you notice and understand exactly what it is that your audience is responding to. It's really good stuff, man.
It's already proven content, just like ads now. You don't need to run ads to something that you are conjuring up out of thin air. You run ads to content that already performed well because it already has that organic reach. Here's just an
Hey,
example.
before we move, since you mentioned
Yeah.
that, if you don't mind, kind of like, and if you're going to get to this later, that's fine. But when do you suggest that an agent might run some ad dollars towards a specific post? Is there like a
Just
certain
that.
one? Is it?
If something is performing well, that's something you run ads to. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, you're trying to force engagement down people's throats with something that you are creating for an ad. If you have something that's already performed well, you're going to get way more bang for your buck, whether it's just to get profile views or if you're attaching a lead magnet to it, whatever it is, you do it on something that's already crushing. It's by far the
Hey, Eric, we
easiest.
probably got some people here that maybe even haven't ever run any ads.
Yeah.
Would you just boost those posts, or is there a specific thing you would suggest for the first time, or maybe for someone that has a piece of content that's done, well, as far as
Yeah.
the type of ads they would run?
If I answered this question, I would be completely talking out of my ass. So I do not know the answer to that. Most people
I
will
would
just
say,
make something up right there. But here's what I do know, Jimmy, is that if you boost something on Instagram through the Instagram app, I know that it actually costs more money because it actually has to go like through the app and through Apple. So when you're boosting ads, I think you should actually do them through Meta on your desktop. I have heard that.
great, good stuff.
Okay. All right, pulled myself out of that one. All right, so
You
how can
really
you?
did. You
Yeah, I really did. Look, a lot of people will just pontificate and make up some answer there. I'll tell you when I don't know something because I certainly don't know everything. So, how
Yeah.
can an agent do this about repurposing content? Let's say you made a reel on Cinco de Mayo. You were doing a hyper local piece of content, and it was about your top 3 favorite Mexican restaurants in Tucson, Arizona. Say that reel crushed. You got a ton of engagement, comments. People say, no, I like Papagayos. No, I liked Taco Bell. No, I like this, whatever. People are going nuts in the comments. You don't have to wait until Cinco de Mayo again to post that, right? Because that is still something that could be timely. So how about it's Taco Tuesday, LeBron's favorite day, and you say, in honor of Taco Tuesday, I'm going to give you the 3 best Mexican restaurants in Tucson: Papagayos, Chanos, Carmelos. This is not opinion; it's fact. Debate me in the comments. This simple post, you're probably wondering, I'm a real estate agent. Why the hell would I post something like this about my favorite taco shop? But it's hyper local. It's opinion based. This is something that actually gets engagement and will increase your brand because people are talking in the comments and people get to know you a little bit better based off of your opinions. So you see how I did that, Jimmy, where it was, this is an Instagram reel about this,
Yeah.
but now it's Taco Tuesday. Let's switch it from reel into text.
Yeah. It's really good. Really good.
All right. So this is my favorite way to stay consistent, and this is by far the best tactic to actually get more virality and engagement on your posts. If you don't know what trend jacking is, it's a marketing strategy where brands create content based off of popular sounds, hashtags, topics, stuff that is happening today, basically. I have White Lotus in there. I have football that's coming up. Like this is, stuff that was happening in pop culture. Jimmy, if you had to think right now, what is the number one thing to trend jack on right now? What would it be?
This morning, probably, I flipped on the news this morning, which I don't usually do. It could be the Russia meeting, with
Oh
Putin
my God.
potentially.
How would an agent trend jack the Russia meeting with Putin? That's a diabolical answer. This is the answer, Jimmy. Taylor
Okay,
Swift,
okay, yeah,
obviously.
yeah, yeah. Hey, listen. Come on, man. I've got two daughters that have just hammered me on this. We were talking about this last night. My son, we had this conversation last night. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Of course. Okay.
Did I just age myself a little bit that I was watching CNBC this morning instead of?
I don't I don't know how. I'm trying to think how an agent could trend jack the meeting with Putin, maybe somehow correlating it to
If
a
you
meeting
post
with the
something on
listening
that
team.
today, it will be amazing.
It
It would be
probably
amazing.
will. Exactly.
Yeah.
That'll be my next blog post, how agents can trend jack the Helsinki summit or whatever it is. Maybe it's in Alaska, I think. So this is
Uh,
Taylor Swift. Obviously, she's coming out with her new album. Some ways you could trend jack Taylor Swift right now, and please put aside your visceral, contrived reaction to your hatred for her for some reason, because she's obviously extremely talented, amazing marketer. What Taylor Swift has done is she has cross-pollinated her audience by going on the Travis Kelce podcast. So she's going into sports media. How agents can do this is by collabing with local businesses on Instagram. Maybe you're getting on other podcasts with lenders, title reps, just making sure that your audience isn't always just real estate specific and getting yourself in front of other people. The easiest way to trend jack Taylor Swift right now would be to do something like, I don't know, Life of a Showing Agent, because her album is Life of a Showgirl. We have that template available for our members actually. And then also using Taylor Swift audios. We put a Taylor Swift audio on a post yesterday and it crushed just because it's in the minds of people right now. So anytime there's something happening like that, kind of use it to your advantage. Figure out a way you could trend jack. I can't believe you said the Putin
I know
summit.
you can't. I know, and I know that I'm going to hear from this. Hey, let me ask you this though:
Yeah.
is there something that you watch to find what might be trending, or is this just something that just happens in your daily life that you're just kind of you're out and about? Is there something that maybe an agent could look towards, or
Mhm.
that you could think of along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, you could honestly go on ChatGPT and ask it what are some trending topics I could trend jack off of. So that's probably the easiest route you could do. The only way I trend jack is by consuming a ton of content. I'm chronically online. I know a lot of agents are not going to be able to do this as much, but in that time period that I mentioned earlier in your calendar, the daily time block, scroll for 10 minutes, because if you scroll for 10 minutes, whether it's on X or Instagram or TikTok, you're going to start to see something, whether it's an audio that you're hearing consistently, or it's a post style that you're seeing, or if it's the Taylor Swift thing, you couldn't get away from that, right? So it's really just actively trying to find stuff like this by scrolling or by searching ChatGPT. That's the easiest way I can think of. So
Awesome.
you could trend jack in a bunch of different ways. You could trend jack the news. You could do this by posting green screen content, any sort of hyper local thing that's happening in your market. That's always the most effective, because that is the ultimate trend jack, because that is happening now in the moment. So you get a ton of shares on that content anytime you could bring in new information. Trend jack the holidays. I love doing this anytime there is a holiday, whether it's Valentine's Day, 4th of July, Labor Day coming up. You should always be creating content around this. Trend jack posting styles. You see these little AI avatar babies. The only reason I would know that these are, popular right now is because I'm scrolling Instagram and seeing these. And then of course you could trend jack pop culture. So I'm going to give you some examples of how I trend jack the news and how agents can trend jack the news. How are the comments going? Are people liking this? I need a little
Yeah, it looks
validation
good.
here.
Yeah, looks good.
All right, that wasn't
Yeah, I
enough.
think there's
Here we go.
probably a few comments on the Russia, summit,
Okay.
also.
Okay,
So
let,
yeah.
let me guys know if you have any questions on this, if you want me to slow down, if there's anything specific you want me to cover that I've glossed
We're gonna have
over.
some
Okay.
time for some Q&A here at the end too.
All
So
right, perfect.
Sam and Savage will have those ready for us.
Okay, cool. So this is how I trend jack the news. This is when I think it was Liberation Day, when Trump announced the tariffs, and obviously the economy was kind of crashing and the markets were reacting, but I think rates dropped that day, so that I posted something like this. So obviously, you know, it's a meme, it's funny, but I just want to emphasize how important the audio is there, Jimmy, because this
Yes.
had no audio on it. Playing that Nirvana song just adds to the flavor of the video. So anytime you could use audio, you always want to match the mood to the actual post. So that's how I trend jack the news. Bam trend jacks the news by doing green screens like this. This is Jared James. I think you know him. He's a real estate
Yeah.
coach, crushes it. He does a lot of
Yeah.
content for us. But then I want to show you like why this content's also effective. So I'm going to play real quick.
Okay, guys, breaking news. NAR has made a decision in regards to clear cooperation, and they have.
All right, two things. What do you notice here, Jimmy?
Breaking news. He's got it. He's got the headline up above his head there.
Yeah,
And he's also got some additional, everything there as far as his text at the bottom as well.
exactly.
I missed everything you were looking for, right?
No, you nailed it on the head. So anytime you're doing a green screen, this is really effective. You want to have the title above and pointing at it. So that's kind of your visual hook. He also has a text-based hook right here. NAR makes a decision about clear cooperation. What do you think? So he's already getting engagement there. Notice that this text-based hook is actually going to go away. And then he also has the captions here. Anytime you're posting video content, you want the captions on because 70% of agents watch content with the sound off.
Decided that it is sticking around, but there is one caveat that I think a lot of the portals are not going to like.
And then here he switched settings. So he had initially the title behind him, and then as he's going through the article, he's covering the actual breakdown. So when you're filming green screens or filming content, it's called the Oppenheimer effect. This is a Ken Pozek line, but the more setting changes you could have in your video every 2 or 3 seconds, the more retention you're actually going to have on the video itself. So here's how agents can trend jack the news. This is Katie Day. She's an agent out in Houston, and she's just covering Houston news. Anything that happens in Houston, whether it's relevant to the housing market or new developments or whatever it is, she's covering it in this green screen style. This is also great trend jack because NVIDIA is always in the news.
More big news for Houston's tech scene. NVIDIA is bringing supercomputer manufacturing to town. In a newly announced partnership with Foxconn, NVIDIA will begin production in Houston within the next 12 to 15 months, part of a major push to boost US-based AI chip and supercomputer manufacturing. The facility's exact location hasn't been revealed yet, but it's expected to be part of Foxconn's growing Northwest Houston campus. This follows recent moves by Apple and others signaling that Houston is quickly becoming a hub for advanced tech manufacturing. Let me know what you think down in the comments.
Let me know what you think. Very simple call to action. Look, this is not rocket science here, right? This video. She needs to get a mic that works also, by the way. But what she's doing really effective is this news article drops. She drops it into ChatGPT and she says, write me a 60-second script. My audience is consumers in the Houston area with a powerful hook and a simple call to action. It pumps out that script. She reads it. Something like this is getting 1,500 likes and over 1,000 shares because it's very relevant news information.
Yeah, another thing she does really well is she'll cover anything that has to do anything with an airport. It just kills. It
Yes.
seems like in every market. So anything you're doing as far as news about, new routes that are coming to your airport, new things. She did one that probably one of the biggest ones she did is she shared something about the Houston airport, and then at the end she asked for the share. So she's like, share this with someone that loves to travel. Just very generic. Those type of things really, really do well as well.
Yes. Anytime you are talking about routes, just as you mentioned, as ridiculous as that sounds, any sort of transportation grievance, whether it's traffic or a new road opening up or a new route that you discovered how to get to a stadium quicker, that sort of content really kills because you're hitting a pain point that's happening in your market. So this is how the broke agent account trend jacks the holidays.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue. And when the band plays, hey.
Guess what, Jimmy? I'm going to post that again for Labor Day because when you're at a barbecue, but your client wants some comps is relevant anytime you're thinking about 3-day weekends, 4th of July, holidays, beach, that sort of content. So I'm trying to get the audience here to just think about what's going on right now. Is it hot out? Is it the end of summer? Is it back to school? How do I create content around that?
Yeah, this is great.
So this is how BAM trend jacks the holidays. Again, because it's summer, we're doing content around beaches, very simple. The top 12 most affordable beach towns in 2025. This is a carousel. And anytime you could use celebrity images in your content, this is Walter White, Breaking Bad. Homes with pools had a median list price of this. It's an immediate recognition factor. So whether it's in your thumbnails or it's in your carousel photos, if you could use a recognizable figure, it really helps with your content. All right. This is Alyssa Kernut. I mentioned her every single week on my marketing show, The Walkthrough. She probably has the best hyperlocal content on Instagram. She's an agent in Spokane, and this is how she trend jacks the holidays. This is about Valentine's Day.
If you're looking to have the perfect date night in Spokane, Valentine's Day, this is what you should do. Okay, first, make it a whole thing and get a room at the historic Davenport and then start off the night with a drink in their lobby bar. They did such a great job with this recent addition and it is such a fun vibe. Then walk a block over to Wooden City. This is one of my favorite restaurants in Spokane. Definitely don't skip on the blistered Hungarian peppers. Trust and thank me later. And the chicken schnitzel is my go-to dish, but they also have great pizza. And then finally, try something new. Wonderground just opened up in the basement of the Wonder Building. It's a super chill speakeasy vibe, or you can maybe play a round of golf on their simulators. Share this video with your partner as a little hint.
Blistered Hungarian peppers, Jimmy, that would send me straight to the hospital. I don't know about that, but what was amazing about the video is the way she constructs these. It's hook at the beginning. Like if you're, looking for the perfect date night, she's not saying, hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. It's if you're looking for the perfect date night, so that's the trend jack, that's the hook. Then it's B-roll footage of where she just was. And then at the end, it's share this with a friend who needs to book something last minute, right? Or whatever she said at the end. So it's always calling attention to the exact avatar that should be watching the video.
Yeah, and if I remember right, I think she's done videos on just about all those. I know she did one on the speakeasy. I know she had done one on the restaurant. So she's literally reusing some, like you said, the B-roll footage to do those things. Obviously, another thing I love that she always does really well is that she calls for the share at the end. When she did the one that she did on the farmers market that just went crazy, an indoor farmers market out there in Spokane. She just said, share this with someone that loves a great farmers market. I mean, those types of things. And then the other thing I love is obviously she's collaborating with all of these other accounts that they love to share this, and so it's just expanding her audience exponentially.
She collabs with
Hey,
local
you had her on.
businesses.
She's generating just from this local content. She's generating like 50, 60 leads a month, isn't she?
It's
From just this
insane.
local content. Yeah, I know.
And,
Yeah.
and she there's something I should have also put in this presentation. A couple days ago on her Instagram story, she said, I sent out a newsletter about Spokane events and hyper local things that are happening in my market once a month. If you want this, drop your email here. And she just put a question box on her Instagram story. So it's a sticker on your Instagram story, and all you have to do is change the language to drop your email with an arrow down, and people will put your email there on your Instagram story. So when she says she's generating leads, that's what she means. It doesn't mean 50 buyers are raising their hand and saying, let's write an offer today. It's the slow lead gen. So that's what to do on holidays, Jimmy. This is what not to do. And this is what you do. You post about Thanksgiving. No, I'm kidding. You don't do this, but agents should never do this. Stop posting branded content about holidays that just say happy 4th of July or happy Thanksgiving. Everyone knows that it's Thanksgiving. Everyone knows that it's 4th of July. Post content that's actually helpful, right? What are the best places to get a last minute Thanksgiving meal? The traffic stuff would be really good for content around this. So here's some content ideas for August. It's end of summer, right? So post last minute summer bucket list. I'm going to stick mostly to hyper local content. Things to do in your hometown before fall hits, where to get school supplies, how the school season affects buyers and sellers. Of course, college football starting, so that could be the best tailgate spots, bars you watch games at. If you're a fan of a college football or NFL team, talk about that in your content because people want to get to know you personality wise. And then, of course, Labor Day is coming up as the most recent holiday. Top 5 Labor Day events, parades, concerts, food tests, best spots to grill and chill, Labor Day weekend survival kit, heads up, traffic tips, parking hacks, what to pack for the beach, like just sort of like valuable content, right? I'm not saying every piece of content should be this hyper local stuff, but it's really the new information, the value that are going to be a reason people follow you. All right, here's an easy content hack. Go into ChatGPT, do this for September and say, what holidays are there in September? Include the fake BS ones like National Cheese Day. What this is going to do for you is going to give you all these holidays that are like National Couples Day or National Sandwich Day. And obviously, you don't have to say, hey, it's National Sandwich Day. Here's what's going on. You want to do content around the best sandwich shops in that area. And then you can maybe make reference to the fact. It's really just a content goldmine, a very easy place to kind of brainstorm ideas with all these fake holidays because there's one every single day. And it could be National Golf Course Day, and that could give you ideas about the hyperlocal golf courses to talk about.
Really good.
All right. Trend Jack, the post style. Obviously, if you see something that people are doing, this is probably something you want to do. So there is open house starter packs. I did this one with the broke agent. This is Katie Day, who did one with the AI generated babies. I'll play it for 2 seconds just because it's kind of cute.
What's up, my friends? Back with another episode of the Real Estate Video Blueprint Podcast. Katie Day here with Timothy Macy, and
we are going to get into a lot of things. I love betting on things and putting pressure on people, though. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. That's what the people want. Give them what they want.
The people.
Katie and Tim make cute babies, Jimmy, I would say. I think, like, sometimes if you have something to deliver and you deliver it as a baby, maybe it's a housing market stat, more people are going to watch that than if you're just mentioning inventory levels in your market. So sometimes you could trend jack this. This is one of my favorite things. This is an agent named Jeremy Applebaum in Phoenix, or in Kansas City. You know him. He stayed in that house with us.
Yeah.
So he posted this. I asked ChatGPT to roast different areas in Kansas City. Here's what it said. Anytime you could use I asked ChatGPT something, that's a really good hook for a video because ChatGPT is on top of everybody's minds right now. So very simple content idea, easy trend jack right there. This is another thing, trend jack, the post style. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, what's really effective right now is news headlines. This headline post is about a new listing, but it makes you think that it's a general news headline post. So this is so much better than just saying new listing in Lake Eola, right? It's a mid-century modern home blocks from Lake Eola. So it's calling the main feature of the listing and turning it into a style of post that we are so used to seeing that it makes you stop the scroll because you think it's a news headline. Really, really effective. All right, this is a post style. That's another trend jack from an agent.
You f***ing touch me again, you about to find out who the f*** I am. My name's Chris Benjamin, I'm 34. I'm actually a local real estate agent. I sort of run these streets. I'm from Egypt originally. My favorite movie's The Goonies. What about you? What are you doing around here?
So the reason I played that, apologies for the profanity, but the reason I played that is because he saw that on TikTok or Instagram from another industry. It's a great way to introduce yourself. And then he correlated that to real estate. And the only reason that he posted that is because he was consuming content and saw that as a trending post style. So constantly be thinking, what can I pull away from other industries while I'm scrolling that I could use in real estate? So this goes back to the consume to create. You got to spend at least 10, 15 minutes consuming content on a daily basis to really understand what sort of content is working. The only reason that we are doing collab posts and green screens with our creators because I saw the real deal doing that with people like Ricky Caruth. The reason that we have news headline posts in our content for BMX is because I saw that it's working for other agents. The reason that I would post my Instagram reels for the broke agent with a black background instead of a white background is because actually agents, my former meme enemy, was doing that and getting a lot of engagement on posts. The reason I don't do what Inman News does on Instagram is because I see that it doesn't work, right? So I also pull from other accounts and say, hey, this isn't working here, so why would I use that sort of content in my style? These are some quick accounts to follow for inspiration. So you could just screenshot this, or Jimmy, I could also send out this presentation to everybody at the end.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
So these are great creators for real estate that post hyperlocal content, great variety. Of course, Gary Vee, Hermosi, Neil Dingra, in terms of actually learning from these people. So you want to scroll for inspiration, scroll for news, scroll for audios, and scroll for pop culture. So just constantly be thinking what movies are out, what celebrities are in the news, what words are popular, what's the zeitgeist, what's the spirit of the times. So I just want to show this audio real quick. And are we getting close to Q&A, or
Yeah, we're
do you
good.
want me to keep going?
We're good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an audio that's a trend jack. And this came out during White Lotus, but this video has nothing to do with White Lotus, but I just want you to listen for why this became a pop culture relevant post.
Today I'm standing on top of La Jolla at this home listed just under $5 million. Let's go take a tour.
So you obviously hear the White Lotus theme song in the background. You could do the same thing, whether it was the Severance theme song or the Breaking Bad or whatever it is. It's those little like touch points in your content that give it that extra juice, that extra feeling that separates it from the other content. Because if she posted that without that White Lotus music, I probably don't even want to watch the entire thing. It's just, I like that song, just like the Nirvana song, Smells Like Teen Spirit. I want to keep listening to it because it's just a sick song. Trendjacking celebrities. This is Mr. Beast. He posted this campaign. I think got like 500 million organic views on this. I switched it for real estate about what the average price was in markets decade per decade, and it absolutely crushed. So the reason this worked is threefold. One, Mr. Beast, recognizable face, celebrity. So you have that recognition factor. You want to watch the video. Two is you wanted to wait till the end because it's kind of like a teaser. You know that 2024 was coming at that point, or 2025. So you definitely want to stay to the end. And then three, it kept changing the scenes, right? Every 2 or 3 seconds. And then four, the interstellar audio on it as well is kind of that recognized song. So it just, you like feel like you're in the moment with these videos. You know what I mean? Like you feel the videos.
Hey, Eric, how do you think about audio? I mean, how do you search that stuff? Do you just kind of see other places and people utilizing certain audio, or, for the average agent out there, if they're adding the audio, anything you do in particular there?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. So if you're posting something, you could just click here. Let me just go to post. Basically, there's a trending section. So you would click next on your post, you click music, and then you could search. There's For You, and that's going to basically, show stuff that you've already done before. So if you have audios you've recommended in the past or audios you've used in the past, it'll show that. Then there's trending, then there's original audios, and then there's saved. You obviously want to save a bunch of audios that work, but what's really, really effective is you choose the instrumental of a song. So if you search Sugar Sugar or something along those lines, you want to choose the instrumental, especially if you're talking during the video, because otherwise the lyrics get in the way of what you're saying. So I see a lot of agents make the mistake of putting a Taylor Swift song in the background of their content, but then I'm hearing her lyrics while you're trying to say something. So search for the instrumental of that, and then make sure it's on volume 5 or volumes basically 5 to 12 on the content where you're speaking, so that it doesn't interfere with what exactly you're saying.
Perfect. Really good.
Trendjacking celebrities. Like right now, this is an example. Katie Kenny was doing a post about Taylor Swift's real estate.
Taylor Swift's New York City townhome on Cornelia Street is available again for rent at $50,000 a month. This $1899 built
You don't need to watch the entire thing, but that's just the point about trendjacking celebrities in pop culture. I really like this style too that she did, where all she did is take a screenshot of the notes section on her phone. This is, again, when tariffs came out, or when it was Liberation Day. And she said things that should be tariffed in real estate, but you want to stay for the entire video because you can't really see behind her. So it's like she's revealing each thing one after another.
Unless you live under a rock, you've heard the word tariff floating around the past couple months. And I'm not a political person, but here's my take on things that should be tariffed when it comes to real estate. First one is when you're standing directly outside of a house and there is a Ring camera and you are talking about how much you hate the house and how ugly it is. The seller's
All right, I'm gonna get into Q&A soon, so I don't want to play all this, but you understand the point. The whole
Yeah.
point, Jimmy, with the content is to keep people watching into the end. So however you could do that, whether it's teasers or it's more cuts within the video, it's really effective. Trend jacking the audio, I've mentioned this. I just want to show again how important the audio is and how this really emphasized this meme.
No one knows what it's like to be the bad man.
Limp Bizkit song, just doesn't it just make it so much better? I can't see anybody's reaction, so it's kind of hard to see if anyone
I know.
enjoying this. All right,
Yeah,
so this is Chris Benjamin. You'll recognize this song. This is probably the most popular song so far of the year, and this is a complete trend jack that he used for a Just Close post.
Somebody's watching me, is my anxiety.
I mean, it's such a good Just Close post because it changes frames every 2 seconds using the Doechii song Anxiety. You heard that nonstop, so that could be something you use in your content. So here are the rules for audio. Match the mood of the post, right? So if it's something sad, you want something sad. If it's something celebratory, you want something happy and exciting. You don't want to have a Nirvana song on something where you're announcing a new listing. That would just make absolutely no sense. No lyrics when talking. Volume from 5 to 12 when you're actually posting a talking head style reel, and then search the instrumental of the content. Here's an example of what matches the mood. This is live look at a real estate agent trying to enjoy vacation, and notice that the audio matches exactly what's happening here.
I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal ball. I had $1 million, but I'd spend it all if I could find that Heiner in that sound.
By the way, has anyone played better music during a presentation, Jimmy? All these songs are bangers.
No. Yes, they are. And somebody was asking about the royalties. Obviously, this live the stream on YouTube will not be able to be monetized when you do these things. Just so you know. But Instagram, you've got all these that are setting up already there. So yeah, man, this has been phenomenal. The trend jack of the day. What is this right here? I want to get to some Q&A also here in just a few minutes.
Okay, I'll finish up with this one. Trend
Okay.
jack in the day. I'm just trying again to get people to think like you could trend jack anything. Like we trend jack Sundays. We send an email. It's 5 things while you're bored in an open house because that's what people are doing on Sundays for real estate agents. This is a post that I did based off of that. Again, recognizable, Breaking Bad, text popping up, it keeps people watching the actual video. So agents, you could trend jack the day, whether it's what's happening this weekend in your market like this. My point is you could trend jack anything, Jimmy. You could trend jack the weather. You know, for example, you could memify your market. This is what Kansas City is today. Here's what Kansas City is tomorrow. Of course, you could trend jack your calendar. Graphics team made this. I see they put Yom Kippur there. I'm Jewish. I would not trend jack Yom Kippur. It's the Day of Atonement. So disregard that. That's hilarious that they put that in there. Out of all the holidays they pick Yom Kippur. That's ridiculous. All right. So a few things to keep in mind. Carousels are crushing right now. They're performing better than reels. Change up your variety of your style of posts. You don't want to get stuck posting the same sort of content all the time. Don't forget about the social aspect of social. Make sure you are doing community engagement as well. So be responding to comments, commenting on other people's posts, DMing with people. View your insights. I could do a whole presentation on this one day, Jimmy, if you want me to, about what content you should look at. And then I want people to understand that this is hard, right? Like content creation is a very difficult process. This is not easy, but experiment as much as possible. And the reason I've posted 5,000 times and then another 4,000 times on the BAM account is because I'm constantly failing with my content, but it's all about learning from that piece and then actually repeating the content. So I will take Q&A now. Hopefully that was
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to
effective.
share one piece as Sam,
Yeah.
as you can be bringing this up, and then I want you to share a little bit about BAMX. I love what you're doing there. And
Yeah,
one
I
thing
will.
I want to share my screen real quick, and then we'll get into the Q&A, because I wanted to share one thing. I sent this to you yesterday. This actually posted yesterday. It's doing really well. Understanding that we are at a place where obviously we're having longer days on market, we're having expired listings. And so when you have some of these wins where you're having a sale, document that sale. And it's where we're going to make the process and the people the heroes. So I'm going to share my screen and just kind of show the intro to this, and then talk a little bit about kind of what the call to action was on this as we go into it. So this is Colby Anderson here in Santa Rosa Beach. He just had a record price sale. And so I'm going to just kind of show you this, what we did on this, or what he did on this to really make this pop off. Hang on one second. Let me get my audio where it is working real quick. Market environment. Here's the story. Let me start this back over here so you can kind of see this, where you can hear this audio. Well, of course, I can't make that work right now. Let me go back to the home. Oh, look at there. Rates have come down. All right, let me go back over here. Let me tell you what we did instead of sharing that, because it's going all over the place on me right here. I'm losing control there, Eric, for a second. But basically what we did is think about this. If you've got a success story on a sale, we went in and said, wondering what it takes to have a record price sale in this type of a market. Here's the story. Then we went through quick cuts through there. He's talking about launching the listing. He's talking about the different prices. He's talking about a price improvement that he did, and then it strategically led to the sale. And then he's talking about how he was able to exceed the owner's expectations. At the end, we did the call to action where it was basically, if you know someone who's wishing they could get their home sold, share this with them. It's basically a call to action for those that are out there. So good stuff there. Hey, if we don't mind, let's have a few questions here. How you doing on time, Eric? I want to be cognizant of your time.
I'm good. I'm good to go. And then I'm good to go, and I want to give everybody free access to our content platform as well.
Yeah,
so
man. Let's do that right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do that right now if you don't mind. Before we get into this.
I just want to show people, because a lot of people are probably saying, why do we have, or how do I get all of these templates and content ideas and resources? We have these all available for you in our school platform. We do a weekly content drop where every single week we give you timely, relevant content, templates, video scripts, blogs, and emails. We have listing templates, like I just mentioned, that have those news headlines. We have hyper local content, literally based off of everything: 5 ways to avoid Sunday scaries, back to school survival guides, summer bucket list. And then we have trainings. So if you got anything out of this, or you want office hours with me and our BAM video team every couple of weeks, plus we bring in amazing guests. It's an amazing community. BAMX is a completely free trial. I just want you guys to see what we actually have in here. So I'm going to share my screen. I want you to scan it and then join today, get access to our content drop today, because then you're going to see how much value is in this community. So let me just flip my screen right there. Bang.
Bang.
All right, and then I'll drop a link in the chat as well. But this is the #1 community for agents to actually build your brand and close more deals. It's not just content too. This is Byron Lazine. He does live role plays every Tuesday with Tom Toole and Lisa Chinati. Jimmy, they're absolute powerhouses.
Yep.
So the amount of content that we have in here, from trainings to actual content that you could use, it's the best platform in real estate. I want everybody here to check this out so you can see what we have to offer. It's a 7-day completely free trial. So make sure you scan that right now and get in there. Also drop a link in the chat. But today is a good day to get in, because we launched our BAMX in a box, which is our weekly content, on Fridays. So you're getting an actual Taylor Swift template, which I mentioned, which is Life of a Showing Agent. And then it's a little carousel swiper right there. Plus you get Chris Benjamin's content too, who I showed there. He has all of his content, trainings, print marketing, flyers. So scan this right now, get in BAMX, and I'll drop a link in the chat.
Yeah, I love going over there too, because it gets me. Hey, you got a little sound effect? Was that a sound effect from you, or is that from Sam? I don't know. But I will tell you this. I love going in there because it gives me a good idea. Obviously, I'm a member, and it gives me a good idea of exactly what's working right now. Because, like you said, you're doing this all day, every day. With my schedule, it's hard to see exactly what's happening, obviously, based on the whole Russia comment earlier. So this gives me an opportunity to kind of see what's working right now, see some examples, and then, obviously, in my case, help agents understand what it is they can do. So
Exactly.
let's see. Sam, any questions in particular? I know we had a bunch of questions coming in there, but any ones that you want to queue up for Eric right now?
Yeah, we got a ton of questions regarding music royalties, content royalties, or copyright stuff. So, yeah, that's a big one.
Royalties. Yeah, I mean, on Instagram, Spotify gives you access, so it's not a problem. It's not going to hurt your content. Like Jimmy said, on YouTube, because I played all these videos, we do this all the time on the walkthrough, it will make it so you can't monetize that piece of content. But that doesn't really matter for a YouTube video like this. But for agents, the audio is available for you on Instagram. They're giving you that audio. You could also upload your own audio, but in terms of royalties, it just doesn't matter.
Hey, Eric, if you don't mind, because I know that you've been really hyping up what's going on Facebook. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Facebook. You want to talk about the different platforms, and do we see these waves of trends where some are even outperforming others?
Yeah, so I mentioned it briefly at the beginning. We actually just did a BAM survey, and I'll send that to you guys as well, that surveyed 700 real estate agents, and 47% of them are getting more leads and engagement on Facebook. It was like 45% Instagram, and it was like only 2% YouTube or something, which is such a huge avenue. But Facebook right now, text only posts, like I just mentioned, whether it's like an observational piece of content or a photo, personal photos are really, really crushing. And you can set a Facebook post as a reel for 2 seconds, like it's a video, but it's just a text-based post, and those are really, really performing well. The attention puck moves, right? So everybody has gone to Instagram and TikTok. Facebook has now had such a resurgence in the organic reach. Do not sleep on Facebook. The broke agent page alone is getting thousands and thousands of shares when I felt like it was dead 6 months ago. So please return to Facebook. And then in terms of the other platforms, YouTube for long form, if you're really trying to attract buyers, YouTube is by far the best way to actually build trust, because people are watching you for 15 minutes. They're deep diving on your channel. They get to know you. So those leads are far more potent than the ones that you're getting on Instagram through an email capture that are probably just kind of passively consuming your content.
Good stuff. Sam, any questions in particular we want to bring to the forefront here? And I want to be cognizant of your time, Eric, as well as everybody else. We're going to hang around and get
all
the
day,
questions
Jimmy.
in.
All day.
All day. I love
I'll
it.
handle
All right.
every question. This is my objection handling.
I think it's 11 o'clock here. I know it's not on the West Coast, but we got to get in our car and cry. I think that was on the schedule at some point.
Then you got a sewer inspection at 1, and then you got your tea time after that.
That's right.
Eric, asking, do you just exclusively source all of your music right from the platforms themselves, or do you source it also from external sources?
Yeah, right from the platform yourself. So it connects directly to Spotify, so they have 99% of what you're looking for. All you have to do is, in the search, when you choose audio, search the song or search whatever that song is plus instrumental, and sometimes they'll have it. And I always save audios again, and I look at my Spotify playlist, right? So I look, if I'm posting a meme and I'm trying to think, all right, what song will go well for this? I go on my Spotify, because I have, thousands of songs that I listen to on a regular basis. And then I think, what would work here? Because it's also showing your personality. When you drop music into your content, that's another way of saying, hey, I like Black Eyed Peas is probably the worst example I could use. Hey, I like John Mayer, right? Then if they see John Mayer content consistently, they're like, oh, Eric likes John Mayer a little bit. Why are all the questions about audios? That's interesting.
I know.
Yeah, and mostly about copyright. A lot of people are concerned about copyright and get hit for that copyright, but you've already answered that one. So regarding templates or content that you're using, like the Mr. Beast money content, how are you pulling that content? Give us just a little bit, like, you obviously seen that on something else, and so how do you leverage that, like from the nuts and bolts, the mechanics of how you do that?
So there's multiple ways. So you could either download the video directly from Instagram. So you would do that by clicking the top 3 buttons, and then you could copy paste it into an app called the Repost app, and that could download all this content without the watermark. Another way that you could do it that's really effective is you could actually I don't know if it's called remix. What's the word here? Let me see. I want to get this right. So if you go to any sort of post and you're scrolling on Instagram Reels, you could click the 3 button. It's called remix. Remix is something that you could do where it just reposts the video to your feed, but you have to add like a caption or something like that, or a sticker or a different audio. That's called the remix feature. And then now there's an actual repost feature where you're not actually adding additional context to the content, but what you're doing is reposting it not to your feed, but to a different tab on your Instagram content. So it's like a new way to curate content. I don't know if that answer was kind of all over the place.
No, that's good.
If I could. Okay.
In terms of success of the post, are you purely judging it based on views, or what is your overall performance analysis of a particular post?
Yeah, shares is the number one thing that's going to reach new people. Shares is what reaches non-followers. Shares is what's going to determine how quickly a post takes off. So that's the first thing I look at. Shares are also kind of the slowest to actually show up in your insights. But before I judge how a post is doing, if I see it's at 1,000 shares but only a couple hundred likes, I know that thing is rolling, because that post is getting shared in people's DMs. It's getting shared publicly. So I would go for shares. And then if you click the insights, so say you post an Instagram reel, you could click view insights. There are 2 new things that you should look at. One is video retention, to see how long on average someone watched your actual video. So you could kind of see when they drop off. So if your average watch time for that video is 5 seconds, but the video itself is 30 seconds, you know that you kind of screwed up at the 5-second mark. Like maybe you're not saying stuff that's as interesting as you thought. There's now a new feature that shows when people actually liked the video. So this came out, I'm going to say a couple of weeks ago, but you could see when they liked it. And that's giving you another data point of, oh, what I said right there, that's something maybe I want to turn into other content. Or they all liked the video halfway through, and that's when I was showing a picture of my dog, right? Or that's when I was jumping out of a window. I don't know. Whatever the task it is that you were doing in that video, that's going to give you a great data point for when your content is most effective.
And let me add one thing here, because I saw some people were asking kind of like, hey, does the average agent understand a lot of this? The agent moving forward obviously will begin to understand this more and more. Look, if you're an agent that just knows you need to make some posts, don't just post just anything. I mean, Eric talked about this. Don't post the holiday post, because it's just going to, not only is it not going to be effective, it's going to kill your algorithm with the lack of people engaging with that. But find someone local that can possibly, if you're looking to hire someone potentially there. But I would tell you, the more that you understand this and the more that you do this on your own and the more it's your own personality, the better results you're going to get. So just, don't get overwhelmed with this. Obviously, there's so many different ways to do the business, but I will tell you right now, this is, and you heard Chris start us off with, this is the relationship business. So your feed should be representative of who you are. It should be able where people can understand who you are, what you're about, where you're giving value, because it is actually, in my case, in a lot of cases, whether it be YouTube, whether it be on social media, it is the new CRM. It's nurturing for you, whereas nobody wants to be dripped on. You know what I mean? This is where literally where we're having this type of content where they can relate to you. That's where you're going to build those relationships. Speaking to that, Eric, can you talk about the use of stories versus regular posts or reels as well? Because obviously it's a completely different situation for most people, and for me, the stories are where we're building some of those relationships. It seems like.
Yeah, stories are for DMs and conversations. Stories are not for growing your brand, right? I mean, they grow your brand in the sense that people will start to relate with you a little bit more on a personal level, because in your stories, that's where you really want to drop the raw, authentic content. Our mutual friend Andrew Undum, he posts amazing Instagram stories of rants that he's doing in his car. And I always tell him, post those to the feed, because that content needs to be seen by everybody. But stories are really for showing that you're at the Florida State game, showing what you're doing with your family, showing your favorite restaurants, asking for, DMs about people's opinions on things. That's where you start the conversations and foster the relationships. It's not really where you share your educational content, right? What's really effective with Instagram stories is using ManyChat or links to actually collect emails from people. So very rarely, unless you're using ManyChat in the feed, are people going to click that link in your bio. Instagram story, they're really likely to actually DM you directly from a story. So if you're sending out a newsletter or you have a great video like Jimmy's amazing YouTube videos and you say, here's a tip on Instagram strategy. By the way, if you want to watch the entire video, DM me the word YouTube and I'll send you the link. That sort of interaction right there is so powerful that it's going to send them the link. And then also DM conversations, push your content to the top. So say Jimmy and I DM with each other on Instagram, and then Jimmy posts to Instagram within the next couple hours. Jimmy's post is going to pop up first on my feed because Instagram recognizes that our accounts communicated with each other in the most powerful way. So the more stories you post, the more DMs you get, right? Especially if you're asking questions or asking people to respond to you about some sort of opinion. And that's going to then push your content further in the algorithm because now you've interacted with people. So respond to people's stories as well, because that's creating that same connection point. And make sure you have at least an Instagram story per day.
Yeah. Hey, Eric, let's do a little pro tip here also, because I mean, I know I've heard this on your podcast, and I've tested some of these things, and we can see the effects of it. And I'm trying to remember who the guest was, whether it was Ken or somebody else that did, and talked about priming, almost like priming the pump before they post. They're commenting, they're DMing, they're actually getting interactive before they actually do their posts, and they're seeing those actually almost like priming the pump, so to speak, with the algorithm. Does that make sense? If you can explain that a little bit, if you don't mind.
This is my idea. This is not Ken Pozak's
your idea,
or Katie Day's or any of these hacks or Jimmy Mackin. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Everything they have, it's just some DJ'd parrot talking point of something that I have come up with in the last 10 years. So I know you have all these people on. Whatever they're saying, it has come from me originally. The juicing the algorithm is something I invented on the toilet 5 years ago. And what it is before you post something, you spend 10 minutes DMing with people. You spend 10 minutes responding to people's comments and old comments on your posts. And then you post an Instagram story that starts getting DMs and responding to those. That does prime the algorithm. So the more you interact on the platform, the more reciprocal engagement you're actually going to get. Ken Pozak doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think I hit a nerve, which, man, I'm gonna tell you something. I love to know where your nerves are. This is great for me, because I will poke that.
That's
again,
one of them.
I promise you.
If I'm about to tee off Jimmy, and you say the name Jimmy Mackin in my backswing, I am snap hooking that thing 400 yards out of bounds.
I get it completely. I know. Well, we're working on that. You're working on your grip. You're getting that grip better. It'll work.
A little more open, less hooks. Exactly.
I know. We spent way too much time talking about that yesterday. Sam, questions. Hey, let's wrap up with the last couple questions here, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Eric, any difference between the business or personal accounts on Instagram that they should know about in terms of resources and tools and music specifically?
Yeah. Switch. If you're just have a personal account, you have to have a creator account. You need a creator or business account. So because that's what accesses the music and the insights and the ability to boost content. So if you have a personal content, switch it immediately to a creator account. The answer I used to have for this is business accounts didn't have access to the Spotify playlist, but if you actually had your category as entrepreneur on Instagram, then you actually would get that same Spotify playlist. Just have a creator account. Creator of business, doesn't really matter. Don't have a personal one. Otherwise, you can't see your insights or anything.
All right. Good stuff. Jimmy,
move.
off to you.
All right. So we'll wrap up with this. Eric, do you mind just putting that up one more time? The slide with that, because I know I saw some comments where people are like, hey, love the free idea. And again, thank you, my friend. This has been tremendous. Just so you guys know, this is something where if you want to see the replay on this, because I know we move really quickly, it'll be on YouTube. You can just go to my YouTube channel, you hit the live button, and that'll show you all the previous replays as well. And also make sure you take advantage of this. BAMX, great resource, gives you a great opportunity to really see exactly what is working right now. I mean, this is what Eric does, and he's best in the business. So, Eric, appreciate this, my friend. And we will see you guys next week. Next week, we're actually going to be talking about some direct mail and also some of the geographical farming things that we're seeing from agents. I'll have a collection of agents from across the country sharing best practices there. Eric, Thank you, my friend. Follow
Who's
Eric. Follow the broke agent.
Who's on next week, Jimmy?
It's actually, we got a group of agents from across the country. I've got, let's see who we've got. Got Julie Colleen out of St. Louis. I have got a couple of others that I'm drawing a blank on. Thanks for putting me on the spot, Eric. And but we will have a stellar group of agents next week that will be sharing some amazing ideas. Thank you, my friend.
Amazing people. Amazing.
On the point.
Okay.
Amazing people are coming.
I was just asking who it was. No need to get defensive.
So this is where I touched your nerve, and now here you are. You know, I mean, what are you, Jimmy Mackin, asking me these type of questions? You know that I can't answer right off the bat. Everybody have a great weekend.
Get in BAMX. Thank you, everybody.
Get in BAMX, make it happen, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate you, brother.